Hey guys, what is going on? You're checking out an all-new The RCWR Show with Lee Sanders, covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. We are coming at you for Wednesday night of May 27th, 2020, just a couple of minutes removed from an all-new AEW Dynamite on TNT and an all-new WWE NXT on the USA Network. It is awesome to be back. I don't know if this is a case where it's just for one night only, but I'm going to enjoy it for what it's worth. I know that normally, past several weeks now, we've been coming at you guys Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern with basically the recap from Impact and NXT and all the other shows. But this week when I had got my work schedule, there actually was no schedule initially. I told you guys about that on the last episode, but long story short, I was given Wednesday off. So it was, oh, wow, I get to actually watch both shows. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and let's have at it. And so I love it. I love it. I hope I love Wednesday nights. I got to tell you, I love being able to come on live, give my instant reactions to the shows and everything. I do miss coming on Wednesday nights, so hopefully there will be more Wednesday nights to come. I got to deal with it as my schedule is pretty much coming, and I usually don't know what's going on with my schedule for the following week until Fridays, basically. So, but, hey, look, I'm happy that we're here in the moment right now. We got a jam-packed episode for you guys. We're streaming on a couple of different platforms for the next little bit that we're live. Of course, we are streaming on YouTube as always. We're also streaming on Facebook, streaming on Twitch, and we're streaming on Mixer. So take your pick, use the keywords, the RCWR Show. You can find us all over on those respective platforms. I'm going to try to see if there might be a way, if I could figure out how to integrate Periscope as well on top of all of those other platforms that we're doing. And before I dive any further into the show, I do appreciate you guys. I've been checking out the analytics for I always check them out weekly, but I really in particular been liking what I've been seeing the past couple of weeks now. I would say maybe within the past 2 to 3 weeks I've been seeing a bit of growth, and I like that. I see how you guys are going about checking out the show and everything. Keep it coming, keep it coming. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. So AEW, we had the return of Mike Tyson. Yes, Mike Tyson actually popped up on this week's new Dynamite. We also had Cody Rhodes making his first speech as the new TNT champion. What does the future hold for him now that he's champion? How exactly is he gonna go about this championship that he now has, as he's been crowned the inaugural TNT champion? So this was all pretty much your double or nothing fallout if you didn't get a chance to check it out over the weekend. Also, Brian Cage was in the house. Sheeta, the new AEW women's champion, in the house. Lot of stuff going on there with AEW Dynamite tonight. Meanwhile, over on the NXT side of things, we had to try to figure out who was going to be advancing from that triple threat match in that A block that had consisted of Drake Maverick, Shido. You guys know. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a hot second. Also, Adam Cole trying to get, for the love of him, Velveteen Dream out of his ass once and for all, because he has just been a thorn in it for several weeks now, going to William Regal, and what I felt was a classic exchange that the two of those guys had. Of course, I'm talking about Adam Cole and William Regal. Also had me reminiscent for a little bit of William Regal there, and I'm not talking about he's a man, such a man. I'm not talking about that, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that a little bit later on in the show. We also had a hell of a steel cage match between Timothy Thatcher and Matt Riddle, refereed by WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle. Shotzi Blackheart was in action, and damn, the match she was involved in, I gotta tell you, I enjoy the hell out of that. So, I mean, when it's all said and done, and we look at both shows for this week, both shows were very, very strong. There's no denying that. Both shows were very, very strong. Really hard to try to figure out which show gets the one up this week. Who had the better product? It really felt like a tie. It really, really did. If I had to kind of give the slight edge, just a slight edge, I kind of got to go a little bit more towards NXT. Just by a smidgen. I don't know. I may change that thought by the time we get done reviewing and recapping some of these shows. Let's kick on back. Let's talk about some of these shows a lot more. But we got those. I'm definitely going to be sounding off about the unfortunate news that had went down there in Minneapolis, Minnesota with George Floyd. I definitely want to comment about that. You know, we're more than just a talk of wrestling, as we've been doing since 2011, covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond. That is definitely something I want to definitely spend several minutes talking about very passionately. So I hope you guys will be able to, stick around and hear what I have to say and try to make sense of out of that whole situation that's come about there. There's many layers to that. We also have fallout from the unfortunate passing, untimely passing at that of that young 22-year-old, wrestler, and I'm kind of happy to hear what had happened as a result of just more of the information that's coming about and everything. But Hana Kimura, we're learning more fallout after her death of things that has been going on. So, badoop, there's wrestling, non-wrestling related topics, a lot that we can get into on the show tonight. Interact with me for the next little bit that I'm going to be live on the air. We already told you the platforms that we're streaming on, and I have one unified chat at my end, so I can see any and all the comments that's coming in. So feel free to pop in, say hello, and so AEW tonight. Again, this was your Double or Nothing Fallout episode. And a damn good show that they put out there. So I love how the show basically opened up with Inner Circle, and they have these Inner Circle Stadium Stampede t-shirt champions, right? You know how it is after you win a Super Bowl or after you win the NBA Finals. Hey, your team just won. Now you can call Sports Illustrated that. Blah, 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 blah. You can get yourself a commemorative championship t-shirt. You can get yourself the DVD box set of when they won and all this other little silly shit. So they had these t-shirts and you're like, okay, we had these shirts made, but sadly we didn't come out on top. So yeah, now what? And it turns out Santino and Ortiz, they made some type of a deal, because Jericho and them were saying, well, at least we didn't order that many shirts. So you're kind of led to the impression, okay, maybe it was about 10 or 50 shirts. Okay, no problem. But Santino and Ortiz, they had some bad news as they revealed they had got a really sweet ass deal on a boatload of shirts. And it turns out Santino and Ortiz, it looks like they were all interacting on the loading dock area or whatever. And basically there was a truck that was behind them. Santino and Ortiz opened up the back of this truck, and there were just boxes, just galore boxes of shirts. You're going, wow, yeah, how the hell are you going to get rid of those shirts? Seriously, how are you going to get rid of those shirts? We will actually find out later on in the night. Closing out the night would be the Inner Circle. They had these cheerleaders, and it was so weird too, because I gotta tell you, it was fun doing back and forth again. Just back and forth again. Yeah, normally I like to just stream one show on the TV and then have the other show streaming on my tablet device, but I don't know why. I guess because I haven't done it in several weeks, that format. I went back to the traditional remote flipping, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I remember at one point when I tuned to TNT, I'm seeing a picture-in-picture, I'm seeing a commercial break, and I'm seeing these cute girls, cheerleaders that's dancing around. And I couldn't help but go, wow, this feels like Nitro all over again. Not complaining. I love the Nitro girls, but some could make the argument, now that I really stop and think about it, the Nitro girls really did not dance. They were just shaking their ass. Are you gonna complain? Hot babes, either way. Come on now. So I'm seeing the cheerleaders. I'm going, okay, I'm not really sure what that's about, but yeah, whatever. Because this was pretty much going head to head with Timothy Thatcher taking on Matt Riddle main event match. So you're kind of flipping back and forth like I am. You're going, okay, whatever. Girls shaking their ass. All right, I'm gonna go back to the Matt Riddle thing. But then I come back a couple minutes later and I see, oh, the girls, they're pushing Inner Circle jerseys, it looks like. Oh, something cool's getting ready to happen. Okay, well, let me keep it right here then. Of course, their main cheerleader, Vicky Guerrero, once again, Vicky Guerrero having some camera time on AEW programming. We saw her big time all throughout the night at the Double or Nothing pay-per-view on Saturday. And I can't stress enough, if you guys did not get a chance to check out Double or Nothing, maybe you'll have a little bit of money to spare. If not by Friday, hopefully before the weekend is out, I definitely recommend you go out of your way, you check it out. And if you still haven't checked out my AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view recap post show, you could definitely scoop that up after you get done checking this out. We got the webcast version available, and we also have the audio version available, all on your favorite audio platforms. Just search the RCWR show. So Vicky Guerrero, trademark screaming as always. Love Vicky Guerrero. Love Vicky Guerrero. I think she's a cutie. I don't care what anybody else says. You gotta forgive me. I'm slightly older, because like when you stop and think about it, as far as my age difference from Vicky Guerrero, I think Vicky Guerrero is 52, so that puts me 13 years younger than Vicky Guerrero. So yeah, if I'm kind of looking at certain women that's in their early 50s, and you guys got to forgive me. I know you younger guys are like, ugh, you're like, nah, I can, hey, she looks pretty cute. Until she opens her mouth and starts doing all that obnoxious bullshit, then it's kind of, you just keep doing that. I'm gonna go hop on a Greyhound and go to the next state while you're doing all that screaming. But anyway, so Inner Circle's coming out. They're trying to pump themselves up. Even though they lost at the pay-per-view, they're trying to hype themselves up and everything. They're giving each other cool little gifts and everything. And Jericho says, what will make me feel a lot better? Just knocking the head off of Mike Tyson off his damn shoulders. That's what honestly would make me really happy right now. And Sammy Guevara's basically, Dad, couldn't quite get you that, but I got you the next best thing. I got you a little bit of the bubbly, and I got you some cheese platters. How about a head of cheese? Here you go. And well, the meat platter, the cheese, the bubbly, all of that. Nah, somebody helped themselves to that. So who was this? Yeah, cue up the music. Turns out it was Mike Tyson. So Mike Tyson and his entourage, they came on now. Mike Tyson, it's kind of weird what was going on there with Mike Tyson. I'm just looking at his body language, and it was almost as if when Mike Tyson was coming down to the ring, go back and peep this out if you haven't watched the episode yet, but it was almost as if Mike Tyson was a bit subdued as he was making his way down the ramp and everything. And I'm just looking at him, and because of course he had the infamous gif from the weekend that showed him yawning at one point during the freaking Lance Archer Cody Rhodes match, and you're like, Mike Tyson, are you not entertained? Are you that bored? You're like, you got front row seats, you're making the easiest fucking money that's freaking humanly possible, and we caught you yawning. Come on, dude. Like, seriously. But you're watching him tonight, and he's just walking down the ramp, and he just kind of has this glazed, watch out now, I'm just trying to find my way down here. I'm not trying to cause any harm to anybody. I'm just trying to get to my seat here and enjoy the show here.
He just looked very cautious, very. I wasn't sure what was going on with that. But then when he gets in the ring, all of a sudden it's like a switch went off and he's now bouncing around, acting all jubilant and everything. And I'm just kind of, okay, well, at least he turned it on finally. I wasn't sure it was going to be turned on or not. Jericho doing a little bit of revisionist history on Mike Tyson. You guys that know your wrestling very, very well, you know about the history that goes back, back in the day, WWE under, certain circumstances and everything. So there's no need for us to rehash all of that, especially if you guys got the WWE network. But Jericho looking to extract some revenge for what went down all of those years back, demanding an apology from Mike Tyson, or else he was going to knock his damn head off. Yeah, Jericho. I don't know what the hell Jericho. Maybe his pro wrestling tease check had cleared and he was feeling rather ballsy. I don't know what the hell was going on with that man, but I don't know, maybe he ate some frosted flakes or something today. But he was feeling great because he wanted him a piece of Mike Tyson. If Tyson did not apologize, Tyson actually ripping his shirt off, gotta go and Hulkamania and all that. And Jericho, yeah, you look good. You look good for your age. That's great and everything. Yeah, but you still owe me an apology. Give me an apology, or otherwise I'm gonna knock your damn head off. Plain and simple. And Tyson did not apologize. Next thing you know, big brawl. Loved it. Everything just the way that went about. Loved how all of that was set up. You got some of the AEW roster, the referees, other officials, Cody even coming out there. I was looking for Tony Khan. I'm going, okay, only thing missing now is Tony Khan. What's going on? Can we get Tony Khan out there? But no Tony Khan. I did not appreciate, I'm not going to blast the people that I saw tonight, but I did not appreciate some of the people that were trying to do the pull apart. I did not appreciate seeing some of you all cheesing like a motherfucker. Y'all know exactly who you are. I ain't gonna call you guys out because I don't want you guys feeling bad. Okay, I know this much. I may give you guys immunity tonight, but y'all might not be off the hooks from my man Matthew over at Botchamania. He's probably gonna get y'all asses. Y'all supposed to be, you're supposed to be like that black ref when he be seeing people get knocked out and shit. He's like, ooh, damn, ooh. Y'all supposed to be looking all like that. Y'all ain't supposed to be cheesing and shit over what's going on. Yeah, y'all gotta work on that next time. But, hey, look, revisionist history, that was pretty cool seeing all of that, go down. I'm having flashbacks, much younger years, Tyson in the WWF and everything. So, I'm most curious where this Jericho Tyson thing is going. Is everything going to be culminating in a match between Jericho and Tyson at Fyter Fest? What the hell is going on here? Is the question. And it's interesting because ever since Double or Nothing, when everything was leading up to Double or Nothing, you didn't see, you guys do like me and other people. You probably go see what's going on the wrestling beat, check out your news or whatever. Nobody was saying anything about, there's going to be a Mike Tyson match in AEW, and nobody said anything like that was going on. So to see where we're currently at right now with this, I'm very, very curious what the hell is going on between Mike Tyson and AEW. Just what exactly is the arrangement that they got? Is Tyson going to be helping out AEW long enough? It's going to be doing, maybe one match with them, what's going on. But I'll say this. Yeah, it sucks that we don't have actual fans in attendance right now, particularly at these AEW shows. That fucking sucks. But at the same time, no, I'm not going to say at the same time. It does suck. Because I think under different circumstances, we all would just, we would be even more relishing in this because we feed off of each other, right? Especially the fans that's actually in attendance and all that. We feed off of that. Be it as it may, though, it's so cool to see this resurgence of Mike Tyson. It really is. And I'm not sure if maybe Mike Tyson got a little bit inspired by what he was seeing from Michael Jordan's The Last Dance or what, but I hope that when this whole exhibition match that he's going to be having, reports are out there, Tyson Fury, hey, yeah, I'm game. I'm willing to fight him. Exhibition match, sure, I'm willing to fight him, but nothing has materialized just yet as far as an official deal. Tyson Fury just said, hey, I'm game, but that's pretty much it. No paperwork, no money, nothing has materialized yet, at least for Tyson Fury and his people. Nothing has materialized. So that's, hey, if that were to happen, that's cool and everything. How exactly you're going to be able to pull off an exhibition match for charity? That's where things kind of get a little bit, you could do something as far as golf and, tennis, a couple other things, but, how exactly are you going to pull that off in 2020 without egos feeling hurt? You get what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is. But to see this resurgence of Mike Tyson, I gotta tell you, I remember his last fight from many years ago, and I'm very curious. I grew up on Mike Tyson. I can't wait to see what the future holds for him in the ring. Even if it is for charities, doing exhibitions, 53, I can't wait to see what this guy is going to be able to do. And I'm spending time on this because I just love how the building blocks are all coming together for Tyson. Whoever his PR team is that is helping him, get all of this set up, continuing to keep his name out there and everything. I think it's fucking awesome. I think it's ingenious the way that they're doing this. But yeah, what's going to happen with him and Jericho and Inner Circle? Is it going to be a straight up one-on-one match? Is it maybe going to be a tag team match? What exactly? We're obviously building towards something. I just want to know when the hell is it going to be going down. But, they opened it up relatively strong. AEW, that it is. They opened it up relatively strong tonight. I love the fact that things pretty much opened up with Inner Circle. So now you're kind of wondering, just how exactly are they going to address all these t-shirts and everything? And they pretty much wrap up the night. Big pull apart and all that other shit. Loving it. Just good shit right there. All right, let's continue on here. Talk some more AEW Dynamite. We did have our first match of the night. It was the Young Bucks, Matt Hardy, defeating Private Party and Joey Janela. Actually, you know what? That was a damn good opener of a match. And it was kind of funny because we saw the vignette that was setting up this match. And Young Bucks, they were talking to Matt Hardy saying, we were hoping that instead of Damascus, we were hoping for another earlier version of Matt Hardy tonight. And so, Matt disappeared. He comes back and it's Team Extreme. No. We were actually kind of hoping that maybe we could, get maybe a earlier version of you. You know what we're saying? And so then Matt Hardy disappears. He comes back as a cruiserweight version of himself. They're like, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, we want to do a super kick party tonight. So you go, okay, Spot Fest tonight. Look, I got to be consistent here. On the Double or Nothing post show, if you guys recall, I touched upon Private Party. And I touched upon Private Party. I spoke on Private Party. And I said, hey, these guys, they got all the potential in the world. I love these guys and everything. They're still a bit green behind the ears. But the repetition, the consistency, and having them be on TV, that's key. And my whole thing was, I hope we can see them more on AEW television because they're a pretty good ass tag team. So to be able to get Dynamite this week, and we got Private Party on, and they're in this great opener of a match, I felt very pleased, very, very pleased. And they handled themselves pretty damn good in this position. Was paying attention because they did look a little bit rocky there in their Double or Nothing match. They did look a little rough, not rough, but a bit as far as timing, miscues, shit wasn't totally in sync. Here tonight, I didn't see any problems whatsoever. Whatever butterflies, whatever was going on with them from over the weekend, seemed as though they had that squashed. So it's good. That's very good. But that was actually a pretty good opening tag team matchup with those guys. Of course, in the mix of all of this, at one point, I want to say it was the Bucks that actually went into the crowd, and Butcher and the Blade, I don't know why they were dressed in all white, because I'm looking at them and I'm going, okay, we're either doing the Get Humor Brothers or we're doing Mr. Clean. What's going on here? I was just trying to, if there was ever keep your eyes on these two, yeah, let's just have them look like the Good Humor / Mr. Clean guys, and that'll work. Yeah. I mean, that was a big ass spotlight. So you're just kind of looking at them in that hot ass bright white, and you're going, watch them. Something's up. Not sure what. Something's going to go down. And sure enough, post match, after Young Bucks and Matt Hardy, picking up the W and everything, we actually saw the Butcher and the Blade. They jumped the Bucks afterwards. Where the hell Matt Hardy was? I guess Matt Hardy disappeared. Okay, whatever. It's all good. Private Party as well. Georgia, everybody just disappeared. Whatever. But the Young Bucks, they were getting beaten down in the ring by Butcher, Blade. Next thing you know, you get this cutaway scene where you see the guys formerly known as Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, the Revival. Now they're known as FTW, basically. I mean, we just titled the fucking episode too, man. We just titled it. Was it FTW, FTR? You see, you guys got it. You got to work with me because I haven't really been staying connected to everything that's been going on with those guys like that. I want to say it's FTR. Pretty sure it's FTR. But either way, yeah, seeing them popping up, badass. And let me show them their proper respect because they are going under new names now. Don't worry, guys. I actually got my notes right here. Yeah, they're going after new names now. And the new names that they are going, and it's FTR. They're called FTR. The new names that they are going under. Oh my God, the commentators didn't even announce that tonight. According to my notes here. According to my notes, they didn't even announce that. All right, so let's do this. Let's do the Revival here. Because I know we're probably going to also have some people, I don't really know what's the name of those. So Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. So Dash Wilder, now known as Cash Wheeler. Scott Dawson, now known as Dax Harwood. And they are officially now in AEW. They came in there. Couldn't help but wonder which side were they on. You've seen on social media the back and forth that FTR's had with the Young Bucks. Okay, here's the moment right here. They're going to join forces with the Butcher and the Blade. No, actually. They beat the shit out of Butcher and Blade. Bucks as well. They just pretty much ganged up on them and everything. Everybody doing their trademark signature moves and everything. And pretty much all four of those guys, FTR, Bucks, standing strong. Okay. All right. Cool. So happy to see them. Given the fact that we're still in this pandemic, just the fact that AEW over the weekend and then going into this week, adding a couple of more new pieces to their roster and everything, that's got to make, I would imagine, a lot of fans feel pretty damn good given the circumstances. And I mean, look, FTR, they would have done, I think, phenomenal in any other wrestling promotion. I think as far as Impact Wrestling goes, I don't really know if Impact would have been able to afford them. But then at the same time, what about the quality and, what's going on exactly with that tag team division, or kind of a lack of a tag team division? They definitely could have done very nicely, been a great addition to the NWA. I think they would have fit that perfectly. perfectly. But the fact that they're in AEW and they've got a lot of great pieces that's already there for that tag division, and now you got them in there. Oh my God, that's AEW is really, got to give them a lot of comments. They are really, really building up key divisions, and that tag team division, definitely they're building that up properly. So I definitely got to give them kudos for that. I just can't help but wonder, okay, are we at our cap limit for now? Pandemic or no pandemic, are we at our cap limit for now in trying to, because I'm still a little bit worried about being in a position where we inject so many new people into AEW that, okay, who's who, and and then you're trying to figure out who's going to get camera time this week, and who unfortunately is going to maybe be forgotten about for next week, or the week after, things of that nature. So that's got me a little bit leery right now, and I really am hoping that in the coming weeks, kind of brought this up last week. I even want to say I brought it up as early. I'm pretty confident. I'm about 85% confident I did bring it up on the Double or Nothing post show, which is, I hope we can get more information about when this other AEW show is going to be launching, and if it is going to be going down this year, because my concern right now is, and I mean, look, not for nothing, we still have AEW Dark. I know we still have that, but still, you don't want to get to a point where, okay, well, our roster is just so big right now, between this show and that show, that's it. It's pretty much accounted for. I don't want it to get into that type of a situation. So hopefully, we're at a point right now where we're at a cap for now on new talent being injected to the roster, and any more new talent that's going to be coming in, at this point, it's going to be held off until AEW gets that other show on TNT. I believe this fall is supposed to be going down, but happy that they're there. And then look, not for nothing, these guys in AEW, got to give them mad kudos for believing in restoring the manager, restoring the valets and all that. So you've got Jake Roberts doing his thing with Lance Archer. You got Brandy. You've got Arn Anderson. You got Tully Blanchard. So I mean, all these great pieces that you got that's already there. So you can easily have one of those individuals that I just mentioned, preferably Arn Anderson or even Tully, one of those two. You can easily have them slide in there and really, really put that nice old school feel to FTR. But I'm happy. I'm very happy that those guys are able to land quite nicely on their feet, and look forward to seeing what they're going to be able to do in AEW for the weeks to come. Also on the show tonight, Brian Cage was in action. Squash match he had against Lee Johnson. Taz had grabbed the microphone as Moxley was at commentating, watching Brian Cage. After all, this is an individual that has won the right to face Moxley for his championship, and these two will be colliding at Fyter Fest. Taz post-match grabbing the microphone and giving Moxley his props, talking about how he paid his dues, grind his ass off. Now he's the top guy, he's the champion, but he's dealing with a different beast right now. He's dealing with something completely different. He's dealing with a machine, and he wants for Moxley to do everything he can to bring his grit, bring that heart, bring that passion, because he's going up against a pretty big boy that is looking to put his hands through the chest of Moxley, rip out his freaking heart, take away that championship, and then talk about a huge endorsement. Taz ending it by saying to Moxley, I want you to understand something. This is Brian Cage, the Machine. Beat him if you can. Survive if he'll let you. Like, oh shit. Oh shit. As a Taz fan growing up, that was his catchphrase back in the day. Like, okay, so now he's giving it to Brian Cage. All right, awesome. I can't wait to see those two lock it up. That should be a damn good matchup. For me, one of the most entertaining segments of the night. It wasn't so much the pull apart there with Jericho and Tyson. And maybe that's because I've seen that before in a different universe. But granted, we're kind of on the road to see where this story arc is going to be taking us and all that. But for me, what I enjoy very thoroughly tonight, I gotta say, I enjoyed the Tony Schiavone, Reba, and Britt Baker segment, The Rules of Being a Role Model. I don't know what it was, and y'all know I complimented the hell out of her, well, maybe 2 weeks ago. I love me some Reba. She used to be known as Rebel when she was wrestling in TNA, and man, I tell you, when she first signed with TNA / Impact Wrestling, I was excited for her. I said, man, look at this girl. I'm like, shh. Knockout, hell yeah. Oh man, do this girl right. She's going to be a multi-time knockouts champion. I'm just picturing the great rub off she was going to be able to get from other girls. And I don't know what the hell went down, why things went the way that they went. But for whatever respective reason, things never really clicked for her in Impact Wrestling. Never really clicked for her. And, to see that she's basically she's playing the role of kind of a Dempsey kind of, lightheaded person that's aligned herself there with Britt Baker. I'm enjoying it for what Britt Baker is bringing to the table, but I'm also enjoying it from the standpoint of what is Reba gonna do? Because sooner or later, Reba is gonna have that moment where she goes, I'm tired of you using me. I'm tired of you belittling me. I'm tired of you treating me like shit. No more. We're fucking done with this. It's coming. You can see it a mile away, but you just want to kick back in the meantime, enjoy the ride for what it's worth and just. But, I got a crush on Reba. What can I say? I've always had a crush on her, even way back in the Impact days. And, I don't care if she's a bit thicker now. That's perfect for me, man. I like my women thick. So I was watching her the whole time. I'm sorry. Britt Baker was in there too. Britt is always cute as usual. Really going over. I love this whole conspiracy board theory shit that she had going on there. Talking about how almost every single time she's been injured, Audrey Edwards has conveniently been the referee, for a lot of this shit, or she hasn't, she's been somewhere in the arena, but mostly she's been involved. Then talked about the shit with Nyla Rose landing on her leg. Okay, I've seen Nyla do that spot off the rope so many times over the freaking years. She usually does it with precision, and one of the rare times that she fucks up the move and I'm at the receiving end of that fuck up, you call that a coincidence? Conspiracy. Threw the alien freaking Chris Statlander under the bus, saying she was a crock of shit with her alien bullshit. I mean, she had everybody on fucking notice. She put everybody on notice, even put Cheetah on notice as well. Everybody. Now, as far as when she's gonna be getting back into the ring, all she said was very soon. That's all she said. And I love how she rolled off, no pun intended, but I love how she rolled off in her wheelchair. And you got on the fucking back of her wheelchair role model, and I'm just going, I laughed so fucking hardy it wasn't even funny because I'm going role model. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Role model. Okay. I just Quirky. Sorry, I love quirky shit. I loved it, enjoyed it. Pretty damn good. Good shit right there. That gets the highest passing grade for me of the night. And then just Britt Baker really continuing to come into her own there as a heel. Yeah, leaps and bounds, man. Leaps and bounds. Leaps and bounds. I remember being one of the few people going back to the infamous Cruise episode that streamed on TNT from the Jericho Cruise. And when it all pretty much began with Britt Baker cutting that promo, everybody else was shitting on it. Just shit. It's one of the few people that jumped out there and said, yeah, it was a bit rocky, but she showed a lot of potential. You know, just give her time. Come on, man. You know who her boy is. You know, and you don't think all the people that's there helping her out in AEW, you don't think they're going to pull her to the side, and you don't think they're going to, okay, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. Come on now. So, I mean, leaps and bounds. When you just, and if you need to see any further proof of that, you know, just go back and look at those early promos leading up to the Jericho Cruise. And then compare it to now. It's almost like you're watching two completely different wrestlers. Two completely different wrestlers. Night and day. Night and day. Shida, your new AEW Women's Champion, was in action. She had about a 5-minute match against... God, this was, I think, our second time seeing this girl, too. Christy Janus. This was our second time seeing her. You know, good match. Good match. You know, 5 minutes. They were able to go in there, get in all their shit. You know, especially for this new girl that we're seeing for the second time in Christy Janus. You know, she was able to go in there. She looks pretty solid. You know, even despite the fact that she lost tonight against Shida, she still, the way she was booked in this match, she was booked in such a way where you're going, all right, well, she was pretty damn solid. And it was to the point, hey, I want to actually see this Christy chick in other matches. Let me see her in some tag matches, or let me see her in. So it was pretty good. It was pretty good how they did that. You know, yeah, the W does matter at the end, but you know, for what it was worth, I love how they booked Christy in there. It was pretty good. Let's see. Just thinking about what else we had on tonight's card here. Cody, you know, nice talking segment with Tony Schiavone. Pretty much his segment in a nutshell. He's going to be a fighting champion. He's going to be defending that TNT championship every single week on Dynamite. Now, there was a battle royal on this episode to figure out who is going to be the number one contender to face Cody for that title on next week's Dynamite. MJF did enter it. Wardlow entered it as well. Sadly, we didn't get to see how things would have came about if it was going to boil down to Wardlow taking on MJF, because they both got ejected. Kind of courtesy of freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy and a little help from Jungle Boy there. Your two participants at the end, it came down to Orange Cassidy and Jungle Boy, and the person to come out of that with the opportunity to face Cody for the TNT Championship on next week's Dynamite, it would be nobody else. Nobody else does it better. Jungle Boy coming out of there. So he's your new number one contender. It's good. It's good. It's good. You know, one thing I do want to home in on with regards to this battle royal that they had going on. In this battle royal, you know, something that you normally, you know, don't really see too much in other promotions. It's just random people, just show opens up, all these people are fighting. Well, one thing that was kind of cool about Dynamite tonight is that you had a lot of people that were, as far as storylines go, storylines were, what's the word I'm looking for? Would it be woven? Fragment sewn in? You had storylines that were sewn in to this battle royal. And so you have some instances where key people were able to shine. and all of that. So yeah, it was pretty good for what it's worth. And to Tack Gaming in the chat via Twitch talking about Bobby's outbreak last night on Raw. All due respect, we try not to talk about Raw and SmackDown on this show. This show is all about giving love to AEW, NXT, and we also try to give love to Impact and some other promotions, MLW and all that good stuff. So with regards to my thoughts about Bobby Lashley and all that, you got to go back and check out the Monday night show. And you're kind of losing me a little bit as far as the connection you're trying to make to, because I've been talking AEW now for what, maybe almost an hour. So I'm trying to figure out why you're bringing up Bobby there. You'll have to connect the dots there for me because I cannot read your mind. But moving right along there, once again, the Battle Royal, my man, Jungle Boy, getting the opportunity to face Cody. Look, I don't expect Jungle Boy to come out of this with the victory. I don't. However, I do love the fact that as far as the continuation goes in having Jungle Boy continue to be showcased. Make no mistake about it. I've sung the praises of Jungle Boy almost since day one. He is a bona fide star in the making. And I know there's a lot of people that would really, really like for Jungle Boy to be that TNT champion. But we got to look at the bigger picture, which is telling just the overall picture of how great of a singles competitor that Jungle Boy is. And if he can have the type of match that he had, remember, I was very quick to bring up that match that Jungle Boy had against Chris Jericho, if you guys recall, when we had saw Jungle Boy taking on MJF. Remember that? You don't remember that? Go check out last week's shows. I touched upon it. But we can expect the consistency is where I'm getting at. So if Jungle Boy was really able to go toe-to-toe there with Jericho for the AEW Championship, so you already know, just thought process, you already know by default, okay, well then we know that Jungle Boy should definitely be showing up against Cody. So this is just not only showcasing Jungle Boy, a guy in the making, keep your eyes on him, yada, 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 but it's also about, you can also look at it from this standpoint, establishing him as, mid-card, mid-card singles guy, all of that. And I like the way that AEW is continuing to book things, and that's the one thing that I don't really think Cody gets enough credit for. There's a lot of weirdness that's going on in AEW. We can look at some of the bookings of some of the matches. We can look at some of the story arcs and other shit. We can look at a lot of those things. But when it comes to Cody, even though sometimes he does a bit of overbooking, I think. I do think he does a little bit of overbooking. But despite that, Cody's opponents and the matches he has, the rivalries, everything is well thought out. You can tell that a lot of preparation, went in advance. And then ultimately, when it comes time for these matches, Cody is going above and beyond. This isn't a case where, well, I just got to get my shit in and I got to look fucking good. And I'll do a little something here and there for this cat, but I'm really not selling for this motherfucker. So it is what it is. Now, Cody is very consistent with him. All the opponents that he's faced, heels, faces, doesn't matter. He's gone above and beyond, not only to make himself look good, but really put them fucking over. So I expect nothing different from now. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be the end of the Jungle Express, Jurassic Express. It doesn't mean that's going to be the end of them. But come on, ultimately, the name of the game is, build these talents up to a certain level Okay, so not only can we make money with these guys as a team, but we can also make money off of these guys as individuals because they've got XYZ things that's going on with them and everything. So looking forward to that one. That should be a pretty good matchup. Trying to see if there's anything else I missed from Dynamite tonight. I think we pretty much covered everything at this point. I'm just trying to make sure here. So bear with me a second while I just go over the notes one more time. Oh yeah. The tag team championship match. I want to home in on this. Okay, so as you guys know, best friends at Double or Nothing, they won the right to face the AEW World Tag Champions. I'm assuming maybe that's going to come as early as Fyter Fest. We'll know in a couple of weeks. However, tonight on Dynamite, there was a tag match to figure out who would go on to face Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega for the tag titles on next week's Dynamite. So you had a match that went down between Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc taking on SCU. Team that won that, Sabian and Havoc. That was actually the right move to make, and I think most people would be in agreement for this simple reason. SCU, they've already been there. They've done that, respectfully. And I mean, look, nothing against SCU. Nothing against them whatsoever. But, okay, we kind of need some new blood in here. And then, not for nothing, Sabian, Havoc, they're heels. They kind of got a little bit of a rough side to them and everything. So, from what we can kind of see that's going on with Page and Omega, they're still faces, although you kind of feel from a mile away, Hangman Page is going to be turning at any moment, at any fucking moment there on fucking Omega. But until that goes down, let's just enjoy the ride for what it's worth. So basically my point is I think at this point you need some serious antagonists. You need somebody that kind of feels like a legitimate threat to Page and Omega's title reign. So for it to come in the form of Kip Sabian, Jimmy Havoc, I like it. And then what type of a role is Penelope Ford going to play, if at all? Because she's kind of like that smoking ace and everything. Is there a way that Omega and Page can counter that? What are they going to do? Are they maybe going to have Brandy at ringside for them? Not for nothing, but usually when it comes to Omega and Page matches, usually there's no sign of Brandy. She's not really. Brandy's more Cody, Dustin. Who's the other guy? I think Brandon Cutler, I think is the other guy. I can picture the guy. He's got bad receding hair. QT Marshall. That's the guy I'm thinking of. QT Marshall. She's there with those guys. But, as far as Omega and Page matches, I can't even think of one that she's been involved in. So, who are you going to get on the roster to potentially, hey, we need to kind of nullify Penelope Ford in case she gets involved? Honestly, my recommendation, I would not personally mind it. If you can get her for a couple of more weeks of AEW Dynamite programming, why not Christy Janus? I mean, I thought she was pretty damn impressive, and you guys got to forgive me, even though this was her second time involved in AEW programming, this was my first time seeing her on AEW. So I was pretty impressed. I can't really tell you that much about her because I actually went online, trying to find a little bit of information about her and everything. And I was able to peep out some of the promotions that she had worked for and everything. Just kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea. So she made her wrestling debut going back to 2016. And she's mostly a Brazilian wrestler. She was really trained in Brazilian art of wrestling. And looks like she did something for KAOZ, Lucha Libre. She also did work for North American Wrestling Alliance. I'm also seeing the iconic heroes of wrestling excellence. So, yeah, just to name a couple. But she made her debut in 2016. So, kind of relatively still a newcomer at this point. Now has officially 4 years under her belt as a pro wrestler. So, honestly, I wouldn't mind it if in storyline Omega Page worked out some type of a deal with Christy Janus. Maybe she is at ringside, kind of nullifies Penelope Ford. That would be kind of awesome. Just also thinking, where else you could go, who else on the roster you could maybe go with. You could also go with Big Swole. You could also go in that direction too. Oh, by the way, looks like AEW, if you remember from the post show, we teased it. I said when Brody Lee lost there, I said, okay, he didn't tap out, he didn't submit. What the hell? And I brought up the point that you gotta maybe take him off TV for a little bit. Let him just go back to being in the background, and let's forget about him for a couple of weeks. So no Brody Lee on this episode tonight. Also worth mentioning. No Jake Roberts. No Lance Archer. None of those guys. So, your guess is as good as mine when we're going to be seeing them on TV again. But good AEW Dynamite tonight. They did a very good show. We're definitely going to move ahead, and we'll talk now some NXT for tonight. And also from there, we got a couple of MLW headlines we can talk about. Also some Impact headlines. And then we got some non-wrestling related topics we can get into. I definitely, once again, I want to sound off on my thoughts about this whole George Floyd ordeal that went down in Minneapolis. Just heartbreaking. It'd be my first time giving my reactions to that. So stick around for that. Before we talk NXT, I do want to take this time out and I want to recognize some of our Patreon members. Remember, patreon.com/RCWR show. Check out bonus audio, video content. Was supposed to be sitting down with the missus earlier today to record a new 30 with Lee, and we're going to be reviewing the third episode of Undertaker's The Last Ride, and she didn't wake me up for it. I told her, I said, look, you got to be at the alarm clock here. You got to get me at a certain time. Because basically we were supposed to slide it in right before she was leaving out for work. But her whole thing was, you were up all night, so I didn't want to wake you up. I'm like, bullshit, I said wake me up. But she didn't wake me up. She felt kind of bad for me, and she felt it was going to be pretty tough waking me up. So she just let me be. I appreciate that, though. So hopefully we'll be able to sit down Thursday night and we'll be able to record the episode. But I'm also on Patreon only. I'm also going to be talking about my thoughts on NWA's Carneyland. So definitely stay tuned for that. So there's loads of great audio, video content you'll be able to find there. Patreon.com/RCWR show. $5 get you in. Check out all the content. Shout out to Gino. Shout out to Justin Ripstock, Sean Kenter, John Krauser, Michael Wolf, John Davis. Special shout out to Tony Bean Gaming, one of the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Super War, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Tony Bean Gaming tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, reviews. Check him out on YouTube. Also has a Patreon paywall. Patreon paywall as well. I'd say I got a little bit of the bubbly going on here, but I don't. I actually had dinner, not too long ago. I try not to have dinner. The more closer it gets to the showtime, and any veteran podcaster will tell you this, if you really want to make sure that you don't have any, belching problems, no, dryness of the mouth or anything like that, you want to make sure that if you're doing a show, you want to make sure that at least there's a 2-3 hour, even a 4 hour gap, so that your digestive system and all that, everything is good to go. That way you're not belching and all that crap on the air. But Yeah, I think I kind of cut it in a little bit too close. I actually remember when I ate. I ate a little bit after 8. If you guys are following me on Twitter, I had shared a Periscope video where I was walking the dog there, and that was about 10 minutes before NXT and WWE. No, NXT. Yeah, WWE is NXT. Before NXT and AEW came on tonight. Luckily, I ate light, though, but I'm still kind of hiccuping a little bit here, so you guys gotta forgive me in advance. So NXT tonight, like I said, kicking off the show. Both shows were good. Both shows were good. I'm leaning slightly towards NXT here, though, man. That's the thing. I'm leaning more towards NXT for this week. All right, so NXT. I gotta compliment them on that main event match. I know I'm kind of going out of order here, but yeah, come on, man. Work with me. You know, I whatever comes to mind. That steel cage match between Timothy Thatcher and Matt Riddle. Jesus fucking Christ. I don't know if I gotta think about it. I gotta sleep on it. But I'm almost willing to give that a match of the year consideration nod. I mean, that match was fucking killer. I enjoyed that like a motherfucker, man. One point during the match, and this was pretty much setting up a commercial break and everything. This one point where Riddle, kicks the shit out of Timothy Thatcher. And you're like, damn, he's out. But Thatcher, he's slowly and struggling to get up, and he's holding his mouth and all. And you just see blood just oozing out of his fucking mouth. 2 pieces of teeth, or maybe it was 3 pieces, I don't know. But man, you see his teeth, and Kurt Angle's like, whoa. Kurt Angle's checking on him. Kurt's taking him over to the fucking doctors. They're checking him out and everything. And you just go, whoo, like shit. Boy, was that rough. And then they went right to a goddamn commercial break. Your guess is as good as mine. See, I love when we get moments like that, because your guess is as good as mine if that spot was real or if that was just stage. Now, I can tell you that when I was watching Timothy Thatcher and MLW, he definitely was missing quite a few teeth from what I remember. That's all I gotta say. You ain't gonna get no more information out of me, so I'll let you guys go in whatever direction you want to go in. But when you're bending the lines like that, was that a real hit? Did his teeth really come out? I love when we get shit like that. And hopefully before the broadcast is over, if not me, one of you guys that follow NXT, and you check out their Twitter timelines, and maybe you're following Timothy Thatcher, there's a photo of Timothy being checked up on. Maybe we can kind of peep that out or whatever. But you come back from the commercial break, these two guys, they're still fighting and everything. That was the last 2 encounters that Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher have had. Classic fucking encounters. This one, cream of the crop, as far as I was concerned. Cream of the crop. I enjoyed this so much, I wanted to watch it a second time. That's how badly I was entertained. That's how much I really had enjoyed these guys. And I definitely will be watching it again. I actually may end up watching this because I got it on the DVR. So I actually may end up watching this before I go to bed, because, sadly I was going back and forth. But I would say out of 100%, I was able to see about 70% of this match as I was putting the final touches for the show tonight. But closing moments of this one, Riddle followed up with a floating bro off the top rope. Duke it out a little bit more. Thatcher catches Riddle in a rear naked choke. Makes him pass out. He pretty much got the W. So he didn't tap out, but he did pass the fuck out. So Timothy Thatcher going out on top. About 15 minutes of a match. Damn good matchup. I want to continue to see these two guys lock it up. I don't care what the commentators were saying. One last time. Yeah, no. Have them keep going at it. Tommaso Ciampa was in a squash match against Leon Ruff, about 90 seconds or less. Homegirl Scarlett Bordeaux was at ringside looking on, kind of sending a message to Tommaso. Hey, that match against Cross coming up pretty soon at In Your House. That pretty much what that was all about. But Karrion Kross did appear on the Tron. He said the takeover is going to be special and promises that he will make Tommaso feel something he's never felt before in his life. TikTok. And that pretty much was it. Next week, we got the NXT title tournament finals. We also got Candice LeRae, who's going to be taking on Mia Yim. We got the women's and the NXT title matches that's going to be showcased. So that should be pretty damn good. Also on tonight's NXT, Charlotte Flair, Chelsea Green. They were in tag team action. Charlotte Flair personally picking Chelsea Green to be her tag team partner against Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley. Good match. I love the story, and I gotta give the people down there in NXT a lot of credit in the way that they write certain things down there. One thing I want to home in on is their consistency with Chelsea Green trying oh so hard to be accepted. And what I mean by that, not as clear cut as I'm making it seem, but just if you've been following the story arc so far, whenever Chelsea Green is in an opportunity where, hey, look at this person that's endorsing me. Look at what this person did for me. And okay, now it's my turn to shine for them. Now it's my time to try to get them to acknowledge my game. They recognize my game, or rather, I recognize their game, and now I want them to recognize my game, but usually shit backfires. And you see that when her matches play out. She's kind of so distracted. Like tonight was a good example. Tonight was a damn good example. Rhea Ripley doesn't want Chelsea Green. She wants to get her hands on Charlotte Flair. Chelsea, exuding overconfidence, just toying the shit out of Ripley and all that. And each time she's on the offense and she thinks, yeah, I'm in this woman's head. I'm in there. Ripley just comes right back and just molds the shit out of her. And it was kind of like rinse, repeat throughout that. So that's what I kind of am talking about there. I kind of like how that had played out. But this was a rare case where things did not backfire for Chelsea Green. I was expecting things to backfire, but it did not. You had a whole lot of interesting elements that was going on in this matchup too. Here's another case right here where, okay, we got this going on between Charlotte Flair, Chelsea Green, but we also got, Io Shirai, we got Rhea Ripley. Okay, so we know all these girls, are intertwined with each other. I love how all of that just played about tonight. I love that. Good matchup between all of the girls. I love how, if I had one criticism for the match, my one criticism would be, I like that Charlotte Flair's storyline was tagged in when she was tagged in, but I wanted less Charlotte. I kind of really wanted less Charlotte. And then for Rhea Ripley, Io Shirai, I felt they went too early with the hot tag. Because at one point during the match, Io Shirai was getting beat up as the legit person. And I felt that they didn't spend enough time having Io really get worn out by Chelsea and Charlotte and their tag team shenanigans. I felt they really didn't milk that for what it was worth to really try to give Rhea Ripley that big hot tag, doing the comeback, leading on the offense. I felt they went at it just, cool down just a little. This is the part right here where it kind of helps to have the fans in the house. You feel where I'm coming from? But despite that, still a good match. Still a good tag match. I'll definitely give them their props. Match of the night for me, aside from Timothy Thatcher and Matt Riddle, I also got to give it up to Raquel Gonzalez taking on Shotzi Blackheart. That Shotzi Blackheart, god damn. I saw little bits and pieces of her over the years, and it was okay, not bad, okay, cool. But seeing her in the NXT realm, she's really, really growing on me. And so it's like, oh man, this girl she brought it. Both of these girls, I gotta be honest, this was probably, since I've been seeing Raquel Gonzalez in NXT, this was probably her best outing yet as a single star. This was probably her best match today. I mean, her and Shotzi, they really, just the series of countering that was going on, there were so much spots of countering where Shotzi was the one that was really doing most of the work as far as the countering goes. And so many times I was under the impression, somebody's going to fuck up right here. There's going to be a missed spot because they're going just a little bit too fast as far as I'm concerned. And they're going to be off cue on one of these moves. But they both were they were there the whole time with each other. Then at one point, you get Dakota Kai. She hops in Shotzi's tank, tries to drive off, yells at Shotzi, "Hey, look what I'm doing to your tank!" And she's just ripping off letters and shit. Tegan Nox comes out, knocks her on her fucking ass. So you're like, okay, all right, so we still got, these two. Okay, they're not quite, right? Unfinished business. Okay. But then you have Candice LeRae who comes out, and she's spoiling for a fight against Tegan Nox. Now, some of you guys may say, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? This is another beautiful case where you got multi-layers going on and stories intertwining with each other in a match. So, leading up to this, saw a hilarious spot where after, who was it? Johnny Gargano. After Johnny Gargano had a squash match, I can't even remember who the person was that he faced, because I think it was like 30 seconds of a match and then it was over. And then Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, they were getting ready to talk some mad shit in the ring. But then on the Titantron, bask in his glory, Keith Lee and his girl Mia Yim, they pop up and they're basically spoofing what we've been seeing the past couple of weeks with Johnny and his wife talking about how they're going to eat first and all that other shit. And it was hilarious how they had spoofed it. I didn't quite care for the music in the background because I thought that was just a little bit too quirky, but whatever. It's quirky, it's corny. I'll get into it. But I was loving, I could tell they were having fun with it too. But they get a knock at the door and Tegan Nox just lets herself in. So apparently she has a key to their house, according to Keith Lee. And I love the timing of how he brought that up. Just like, oh, she's got a key to your house? Like, what the fuck? She brings a Gargano pizza. And there's like only 2 slices left, but Tegan, she takes another slice. So basically she's been eating the fucking food on her way over there. So there's 1 slice of pizza left, so she's taking her little shots at Candice LeRae. So now when you fast forward and you go into the match between Shotzi and Raquel, Dakota Kai, and now you got Tegan. Oh, now you understand why Candice LeRae was thrown into that whole mix as well. That was awesome how all of that was set up. So winner of that one, Raquel Gonzalez. Again, getting a little bit of an assist there from Candice LeRae. pretty much closing moments of this one after Candice LeRae came out to confront Tegan Knox about that Mia Yim video. Got the distraction. Dakota interferes to stop Shotzi from doing the Shotzi sliced bread. Raquel wins with a modified slam, and that pretty much is it. So where could things possibly go here? I mean, all right, so this could be a case here where Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai and maybe even Candice LeRae. Actually, you know what? Let's really make this epic. And I'm actually getting ready to bust out my notepad for this one here because I'm getting ready to jot down a quick note here. All right, so this could be a case here where if you really wanted to have some serious fun with this particular matchup and the way things were just kind of intertwining with everybody. So if you wanted to, you could do, I love this, you could do a combination of Shotzi, and you can do Tegan Knox, and you can have them take on Raquel and Dakota Kai. But then on the other hand, you could go Shotzi, you could go Tegan. Hang on here. You could go Shotzi. Yeah, bear with me here. You could go Shotzi and you can go Tegan. And you could throw in Mia Yim. And you could have them take on Raquel, Dakota Kai, and your third girl. Your third girl, you could do Chelsea Green. You could go that route with her if you wanted to. That's an easy route. Or if you don't want to go with another girl, if you want to go with something that's a little bit more feasible, then what you could do is you could do Shotzi. I love how every time I try to spell out Shotzi, I get something else because of fucking auto spell. So that's hilarious. You can get Shotzi. You can get Tegan. You can get Mia. And you can get... I just had his name on the tip of my tongue there. The Keith Lee. You can get Keith Lee. And you can have them take on... You can have them take on Candice. It's not spelling it right, but you guys get it. Candice LeRae. You can also put in Gargano. You can put in Raquel. And who's the other one there? Raquel. So let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Raquel. And you could put in Dakota Kai. So, I mean, NXT, my point that I'm making here, I love doing that sometimes. I love just playing around with, names that you could be seeing for like future matches and all that. So you got the gist of that. NXT right now, as far as programming, they're in a very cool ass spot where they can go in so many directions with all of those combinations of names that I just talked about, because when you stop and think about it, so many of those names, they're intertwined with each other in their story arcs and everything. So a lot of fun ass directions you could be going into here. Let's see. Other than that, Drake Maverick, he won that triple threat match, so he moves on to the tournament finals. Thank God. I just can't wait for this to be over. I can't wait for this to be over. So Phantasma, Drake Maverick. That should be a pretty good match. I'm actually looking forward to that one. And other than that, I think we just blazed through NXT with fucking ease. Yeah, I'm looking at it right here, just making sure there's no other matches I'm missing here. Yeah, we blazed through everything we just talked about here. So really, again, matches of the night, the cage match between Matt Riddle, Timothy Thatcher, Raquel Gonzalez, taking on Shotzi Blackheart. That was another good one. And I'll give an honorable mention to Flair, Chelsea Green taking on Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley. That was a good match as well. So let's talk ratings. If I'm not mistaken, AEW won the ratings last week. So we haven't done this in a good while, right? I can't remember the last time we did this, but normally what's been a trademark on the Wednesday shows is I give you guys my thoughts about the ratings, who I think wins, and we're usually pretty damn close with the ratings numbers. So I'm gonna say AEW does it. I'm gonna say AEW does it. I'm gonna say AEW wins for this week, especially with that Mike Tyson spot and all that. I'm gonna say AEW wins. I'm gonna say AEW. What was the ratings for both shows last week? If anybody can pull that up for me, I'd appreciate it because I'm most curious. But I'm gonna say AEW 600 and I'm gonna say AEW 689,900. And for NXT, you see me with my head down. Those of you that's checking out the webcast version, I'm just putting down my notes here. NXT, I'm going to say 612,000. And that's final. So once again, for this week, I'm going to say AEW 689,900. NXT, I'm going to say 612,000. But I've got AEW once again coming out on top. So we'll see how that plays out for this week here. And yeah, both shows pretty good though. Thinking about it a little bit more. It's a tough call, man. It was a tough call. For me personally, I'm gonna give the edge slightly to NXT. Just by a smidgen, I'm gonna give them the edge. It's not by much, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give them the edge. All right, so not much has been going on since last we were on the air with you guys. It's been kind of relatively quiet. We do have a little bit of fallout from what had went down with that 22-year-old wrestler that passed away, Hana Kimura. We first began talking about her over the weekend on as early as the AEW Double or Nothing post show. We had talked about her and everything. Well, it looks like the TV show that she was on, Terrace House, they basically said that as far as production of new episodes go, as far as a new season and all of that, they basically went on ahead and suspended it. They've canceled the show. It's done. And, they apologized to fans, all around the world, offered their thoughts, their prayers, condolences and everything. But now some people may look at this and they may say, man, that network, they fucking caved in. What the fuck is going on here? Can we just be honest for a second here? As far as the Japanese culture goes, they are much different than over here in America. Because America, they would be like, and it's the honest truth. What's that one show, Deadliest Catch? And whoever was the founder of that show or whatever, when he passed away, you're going, okay, so this show is obviously over. Okay. No, somehow that fucking show, it continued on. You would have thought that, okay, under the circumstances, this show, it just can't continue, but it depends. Here in America, more scandal, the better, because it means fucking ratings. And it's nice to see that as far as programming from Tokyo and all that goes, it's nice to see, you know what, we're good. We're not gonna do any more shows. But yeah, in case you had missed that, it was a Japanese reality show. They pulled the plug on the remainder of its season. And just to recap, Terrace House, very popular international show on Netflix. Follows 6 strangers, 3 men, 3 women, live together, develop friendships, relationships. So you can kind of maybe look at it as real world, or insert whatever name you want to insert in there. But it's the right move, I think. I think this is the right move that they should be making under the circumstances, as Japanese broadcaster Fuji Television, they went on record and said it will not air the final episodes of the season, saying, "We would like to express our regrets for the death of Hana Kimura and offer our sincere condolences to her family. Taking her passing with utmost sincerity, we will take active steps to formulate a response." And to further go in depth about this, government officials in Japan, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but government officials in Japan, they have strongly spoken out against cyberbullying in wake of her passing, going so far as to say they're looking into ways to identify and punish those responsible. I mean, if that's even fucking possible. I mean, we know it kind of is, but is all I gotta say. How far do they want to go with this? How far does Japanese government officials, how far do they want to take this? I'm almost kind of reminded, and I talked about this on the show a couple of months ago. There was an episode of, God, what was the episode? I'm trying to picture the show, Web of Lies. If you ever watch Investigation Discovery, then you know about Web of Lies. You know about it very well. But if you don't know about Web of Lies is just as it sounds. So you come across these people that, in some instances, they're either looking for love, they're looking for friendship, they're looking for, something that they normally wouldn't be able to find in the real world. They're taking to the web to find it, and just when they think they found it and it's basically happily ever after, the next thing you know, it turns out they've been strung along for a big old web of lies. That's basically it. And there's 2 episodes that come into mind right now. There was one episode where there was a gamer, and the gamer was setting up people. What I mean by setting up people, I don't know the terms that you hardcore gamers use on it, but basically you had some gamers, they would be pretty butthurt when they would lose online in multiplayer, and there'd be so much trash talking, and if you really wanted to try to get back the ultimate revenge on that person you'd lost to or whatever, if you knew their home address or whatever, you would do some fucking prank and you'd have the fucking cops. And that's what this one guy did. And sadly, the one time that he did do it, first time he did it, luckily nobody got in trouble. But the next time he did it, a life was taken. And just to further tell this story, he was also calling in fake bomb threats and all that shit. And long story short, it was a great episode. It was about 1 hour. Basically, the authorities, they were trying to figure out, where is this person? How is he able to do all of this? Where is he doing it from? Blah this, blah that. And I mean, many months went into their investigation, but eventually they were able to figure out the guy's location, his IP address. They were able to string everything together all along when it was all said and done. So that kind of comes into mind. There was another episode of Web of Lies where there was a boy, I think he was maybe 18, 19, maybe he was 20 even, but he had began this online relationship with this young girl, And long story short, it turns out it wasn't a girl. It turns out it was, I think it was a boy, and it was weird. It was totally fucking weird. So my point is, you know, how much time, financial resources is the Japanese government willing to invest in this? And then, not for nothing, but what if it turns out that some of the people, or all of the people that are responsible for the cyberbullying, what if it turns out they, are not living in Japan? What if it turns out they're from Canada or Australia or the United States? Then you got to deal with trying to get permission for uh, extraditing and all that other shit. So are you, that's where things get really fucking weird, sadly. And most governments, okay, yeah, we really don't want to cough up this person, especially if we know you're going to try to put the death penalty on them. Yeah, we're not interested in working with you guys. Yeah. So that's where it gets pretty sticky. And basically, this could take years. I want to prepare people. What may sound pretty cool, especially for Kimura and her fans, what may sound really cool. Yeah, justice for her. Yeah. This could stretch out, not for nothing, but this could stretch out 3, 4, 5, maybe even 7 years. Because you got to go through so much fucking red tape. So, I don't know. I think if anything, if you ask me what what the simple solution would be, I think the most simplest solution would be just with every country, and I'm sure I'm sure some countries have already adopted it, but I just think there definitely needs to be better laws in place for cyberbullying and things of that nature. I definitely think that there needs to be better precautions put in place. I always think it's amusing that you've got people that are using social media right. They give their critique, their criticism on XYZ. And it's so funny to me that you could have a news reporter that puts out some statement that, from her article that maybe somebody doesn't agree with. And they basically say, man, your article is a bunch of bullshit, nothing but lies. And that reporter, because they got that blue fucking check mark, they report that tweet, and that person didn't say anything derogatory of them as a person or made fun of them in any type of way. Just that the article that they put out was a big old pile of bullshit. And because of that, that is a form of a cyber attack. That is a form of harassment. That is a form of cyberbullying. And they report that tweet or post. And the next thing you know, that person that originally was just giving their thoughts, now they're in, take your pick, Twitter jail, or they're in Facebook jail, or whatever stupid little shit. So yeah, it's a slippery slope when it's all said and done. There's a whole lot of shit that needs to be navigated. You ain't gonna be able to get definitive, okay, this is how it's not gonna come overnight. That's the point that I'm making. It's not gonna come overnight. It's gonna take a lot of work. It's gonna have to take a lot of agreement, especially from the social media Mongols, the platforms. It's gonna take a lot of a team effort to really, make it a collaborative effort, put differences to the side, true bipartisan, and make sure that social media is, much safer for everybody, especially those that may be struggling with some type of a mental health condition, things of that nature. So, it is what it is. Hey, gotta give mad shout out to Alexander Hammerstone. Not sure if you guys had heard. He is an MLW. He just worked out a new deal with MLW. He is going to be with the promotion for many years to come. He first signed on with MLW back in 2018. And if you guys are following him on social media, he actually had put out a video before the news was released talking about how he's going through some options, thinking about his career very seriously, strategizing about what the future may hold and everything. And if you're an MLW fan, hearing that he's going to be sticking around in MLW for a few more years, that should be very, very welcoming news to you guys. So one of my favorites, I'm happy to say it. I began checking him out when he was in Paragon Pro Wrestling. It's a promotion that was based out in Las Vegas, Nevada. They had Gangrel over there. They had Lisa Marie Varun. She was over there. Victoria, she was over there. Jesse Swerson. Matter of fact, if I remember right, and I'll have to rely on you guys that probably also used to check out Paragon Pro Wrestling. If I remember it right, when the company went defunct, if I remember right, Jesse Swerson was the last Paragon Pro Wrestling champion. But yeah, it was a nice promotion over there. There were a couple of people I was eyeballing, going, wow, I didn't know these talents were. And back then, when I was looking at Alexander Hammerstone, he looked like a young Triple H. Now, I know that's kind of hard to picture because you're like, man, there's only one Triple H Lee. No, if you go back and you look at the vintage pictures of Hammerstone 4 or 5 years ago, yeah, I mean, he looked like a clone Triple H, just younger. Had the facial, all that, everything. So I was a big fan of his work, not because he looked like Triple H, but when I will admit though, when I first saw him, I said, "Whoa!" And then it was okay. Well, let's see what he can do in the ring there. All right, what's up with the charisma? I looked at everything about him, and it was, all right, this guy's pretty good. Like I like what I see in this guy. Caleb Conley, he was another one that was down there. I was a big fan of his work as well. I so want for that promotion to make a comeback. I do, because I was loving everything I was seeing from them. Also, while we're talking about MLW, they got a new video that's out right now where they're following along the Contra unit storyline, and the stable has basically taken over MLW headquarters. So go peep that out when you get a chance. This pretty much follows up on their strike that they did earlier this month and occupying the MLW headquarters and everything. So love what's going on there with the Contra unit, Joseph Samael. By the way, one thing that I didn't get a chance to really elaborate on, the Double or Nothing post show. You're talking about Taz there. I think that it's great that, and why Impact Wrestling really did not try to utilize Taz as a mouthpiece, I'm not really sure. Maybe it was a case where Taz, I hate to speculate, but maybe it was a case where he wasn't interested in doing something like that. All he wanted to do was commentating, or maybe just the opportunity never presented itself. Whatever the case may be, Taz never was a manager for anybody in TNA. So I think that it's fucking awesome that he is a manager in AEW, and the only person he's representing right now is Brian Cage. I think that's awesome. I think the world of Taz. I wish that under the right circumstances, he could have been a manager in earlier years for some people, because I'm just picturing just the loads of people that could have benefited tremendously pairing up with him and everything. So I think that's great that he's working with Brian Cage. And, it's funny too, because I remember some weeks back, maybe even a couple of months ago, I said on the show, how come, a guy like Joseph Samael, and I gave him a lot of praise. I told you guys how he reminded me of Bobby Heenan meets Taz meets Austin Aries, all rolled up in one, like as far as a manager goes. He's that good on the mic. If you guys haven't checked out Joseph Samael, you need to go peep him out. I mean, his shit is on fucking point. And, you know, to see the veterans of Hot Trash on the microphone and Taz come out and lend his talents to help out somebody on the roster, help get a talent over even more. I think it's fucking awesome. More, please. I need to see. I see some of these promotions. I like the fact that they're trying to bring back the manager and everything. I like that. Good shit. Also, Impact Wrestling. Got some news for you Impact Wrestling fans. They will be conducting their next round of TV tapings this week. They're going to be taping for several days worth of TV this week, all based out in Nashville, it looks like. And you got talents, you know, you can see for yourself on social media. There's been a lot of talents that's taken to social media that's part of the Impact roster saying, hey, you know, heading on back to blah, 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 blah. You know, we're getting ready to tape some new episodes. And to Izzy, oh yeah, Izzy, I'm not forgetting that. No, Izzy, make sure you don't misconstrue what I'm saying about Taz. I said, and for the record, I'm shocked that Taz has not done more managerial work just for all the promotions that he's worked for. And, you know, you kind of have to dig cobwebs when you're going back to think about that time period that you're mentioning in particular. I'm just saying in general, it's kind of, wow, that as great of a mouthpiece that Taz is, he hasn't done it a lot more. And again, that's for his story to tell. You know, was it a case where, you know, you were looking for the right person didn't come along, you know, what was going on there? So make no mistake of what I'm saying there. All right, so yeah, but Impact Wrestling, they're going to be taping new episodes, so peep that out. Nice to know they're going to be doing some more cool stuff there. Also, Kurt Hawkins, he has announced his first post WWE event. It's going to be with the WrestlePro Alaska promotion. And it looks like this is going to be coming up on September the 19th. Card is going to be held at the Civic and Convention Center in Alaska. And yeah, this is going to be his official WrestlePro Alaska debut. Also, trying to see if anybody else has been announced for this card here. I'm sure it's still kind of a little bit of ways away, September. But he's one of the first people that's been announced. I'm going to continue to pay attention to that. And as September gets a little bit more closer, but for those of you that live in the Alaska area, that should kind of put a little bit of a smile on your face. I wonder how many of the people, though, that have been released from WWE as a result of this whole pandemic bullshit. I wonder how many of them are actually going to be showing up for maybe the big events, things of that nature, if they're definitely going to be a lock. That's what I can't help but wonder about. Also, I want to follow up on some Dark Side of the Ring news. Now, as you guys know, last week we did the Dark Side of the Ring review for Owen Hart. Appreciate everybody that took the time out, check that out and everything. You remember one of the questions that I had brought up, where was Brett, a few other things. Brett, we got some Bret Hart news. So, according to Dave Meltzer, I'll take it, I'll cash this. According to Dave Meltzer, he revealed that Bret Hart was asked to be on that episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Bret was asked, and Bret never got back to them. But Bret was asked. Meltzer would go on to say, I think that the feeling was they interviewed a lot of people with the Owen Hart Foundation and things like that. And I think the decision was made, we could get other family members, and they couldn't get anyone from WWE. Well, no doubt, given the circumstance. I guess they probably could have gotten Harry or whatever, but they went with OG and Athena, which was a good decision. But Bret would have been in it if he wanted to be in it. So for whatever respected reasons, Bret Hart chose not to participate in this filming of his brother, Owen Hart. This would have been a great opportunity. And I just, you look back on the Broken Skull Sessions episode with Bret Hart, and you've got Stone Cold. Yeah, remember that time you and me had that match? We had that great match. What? We had that great match. Well, boy, I tell you, blood dripped down my face. What? You just, all of that. And I'm not mocking Stone Cold, but, you just think about all the interviews that Bret Hart has given. And I've yet to come across that true definitive interview in more recent memory. I'm not talking about something from 2015. I'm not talking about something from 2009 or any of that other bullshit. I'm talking about like 2018 to now. 2018 to now. I've yet to hear that one definitive interview where Bret Hart just really goes in deep to talk about the passing of his brother and all this bullshit that went down with Martha and WWE and Vince McMahon. And this was his opportunity to, okay, let me tell you how things were going on from my side, and what I was hearing that was going on in the family, and the fact that he would not participate in something like this. You can kind of look at that and you could kind of, well, that should really tell you all you need to know about Bret Hart, shouldn't it? That Bret just looks out for Bret. If you want to look at it from that angle, I wouldn't blame you. I would not personally blame you. But, Bret has gone on record saying Bret should be in the Hall of Fame. But I tell you what, man, it really would have been nice to hear him on that episode. And they basically do him like Michael Jordan on The Last Dance. Hey, we got some words here from Horace Grant, and they give him the tablet, or put Bret Hart in that position instead. And Bret Hart basically hears what Martha says, and would have been nice to hear him just offer thoughts on, okay, this is why, per Martha, WWE will never be able to get Bret. We'll never be able to get Owen inducted in their Hall of Fame. It really would have been nice to hear what Bret had to say. I mean, what rebuttal could he offer, if at all? So just the fact that he didn't participate in that, it speaks volumes to me. It just speaks volumes to me. And it's quite sad. So let's switch it up a little bit. I want to give a rest in peace to Jimmy Cobb. Jimmy Cobb, if you know your music, then you know exactly who that guy is. But for those of you that don't know Jimmy Cobb, maybe you don't recognize the name, but if you are a fan of all things jazz, then at some point, either you owned or you heard Miles Davis' Kind of Blue, the album. One of my all-time favorite albums, by the way. And he was one of many, many talented musicians that played on that album. He played the drumming on that album. And he actually was part of Miles Davis' first great band. One of his early incarnations and everything. And at the time of his death, he was the only surviving member from that album. I mean, how weird is that? The only surviving member, not just from that album, but also from that, initial band that Miles Davis had formed and everything. And it's so crazy. Guy passes away, 91 years old, lived a nice, long, fruitful life. And check this out. For a drummer, dude was continuing to play right on up to the very end. Now, how badass is that? I don't know about you guys, but if I'm fortunate enough to live until the age of 80 or 90, I would love to fucking be drumming that long. I mean, that's badass. And it's not like he was going out there doing juke hits and all that. I mean, sure, he was doing that, but he was still making new music, believe it or not. So that's pretty fucking badass. Definitely wanted to show him some love because he's actually a DC native. He was actually born and raised out here in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. But when you look at all the people that he worked with leading up to working with Miles Davis, he worked with Billie Holiday, Dizzy Gillespie, Pearl Bailey, just to name a few. I mean, it's a great who's who. Cannonball Adderley. And as a matter of fact, he got the spot being part of Miles Davis's band, leading up into Kinda Blue at the recommendation of Cannonball Adderley going to Miles and saying, hey, that Jimmy Cobb, that's a badass dude. You want him on your band. You want him. You talking about somebody that is pretty damn good at what they're doing. You want him. And so he joined Miles Davis in 1957, played on 1959's Kinda Blue. He also played on 1960's Sketches of Spain, Someday My Prince Will Come in 1961, Miles Davis at the Carnegie Hall, in person, Friday and Saturday nights at the Black Hawk, complete, and 1959's Porgy and Bess and Sorcerer. So just to name a few of what all he was doing for Miles Davis. Eventually, he went his own way because he ultimately got replaced in the band. And it's weird when you think about it because, here's a guy that, began his musical career probably like, if not I would say like maybe the late 40s. Like late 40s maybe he began. I'll say mid 40s he began. But as far as his very first solo album, he didn't put that out until 1983. Yeah. So you guys are fans of, music, all things music, jazz particularly. I mean, I don't know anybody who says they're into jazz that has yet to listen to Miles Davis Kinda Blue. So it's a phenomenal album from beginning to end, but rest in peace. He passed away, just a couple of days ago, but we, kind of had, really, I think the news first broke out, if not yesterday, I want to say like maybe 2 days ago, it had broke out. And I just kind of remember going, damn, well, that fucking sucks. So rest in peace to Jimmy Cobb once again. And also, want to give a rest in peace to George Floyd. By now, y'all have heard about this. For those of you that did not hear about this, what a travesty. I kind of wish that the Purple One Prince was still with us, because if we ever needed a voice, especially somebody to really tell us how it is, what's going on out there in Minneapolis and everything, he would be that face. Without a doubt, he would be that face. But, George Floyd, this is another case right here where we have a black man that loses his life to a police officer. It was totally unnecessary. There was no need for this man to lose his life the way that he lost his life. To say that I'm appalled, to say that I'm disgusted, would be a fucking understatement. Here we are right here. We got another case of Eric Garner. I can't breathe. This man, George Floyd, pleading with the officer. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. You hear that. Okay, obviously I'm applying too much pressure. Let me ease up a little bit. You've already got this man in handcuffs. He's not going anywhere. You've already got him on his stomach. And, you know, I don't care what the race is, but it damn sure doesn't help that it's a white cop. Because we've continued to see this narrative that's been going on in society. That's the truth. That's the truth. But to see this police officer with his knee pressed up, you know, into this man's neck, you know, windpipe, all that shit. Now, you can throw at me that bullshit about, you know, oh, well, not for nothing, but this guy, this black guy, you know, he had health complications, diabetes, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Okay. So this man gets a knee pressed up to his neck. Full amount of weight. This cop probably weighs about 175 to 210. Not a fat ass by any stretch, but, you know, all that amount of weight is being put into one knee on the neck of a person, and we're gonna keep it right there for 10 minutes. What the flying fuck do you think is most likely gonna happen? Most likely that person is gonna pass the fuck out, and you'll be lucky if that person will come back. You know, they might pass out, but hopefully that's all that happens. They just pass out, they lose consciousness. Hopefully they'll wake up in a couple of hours, no fucking problems. Otherwise, longer you're putting your body, in this case your knee, on somebody's neck. 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute, 6 minute, 7 minute, 8 minute, 9 minute. Yeah, there's probably going to be some serious fucking problems that's going to be going down. And this police officer is just looking around. At one point, this police officer actually has his hands behind his fucking back. And he's just looking around. Actually looks dead at a camera. And he's just looking, you know, like, I was going through the park one day and I saw an unarmed black man. I'll let you guys finish the rest of those lyrics. Disgusted on so many levels in seeing this. You know, please, I can't breathe. This man is begging. He's fucking begging for his life. Please, I can't breathe. And yet, nobody. If there was ever a time where somebody should have, hey man, ease up off of him a little bit. That's too much pressure. Ease up off him. He ain't going nowhere. There's more of us than him. Like, you know, ease off of him. The guy follows up and says, my stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Please, I can't breathe. You even had people that were watching this going on urge this officer to ease off of this man. One person saying, you're stopping his breathing right now. You think that's cool? A woman yells, his nose is bleeding. Look at his nose. Yet this officer does not budge. And then this man goes silent. I mean, this sounds like some shit from Do the Right Thing, and anybody that saw Do the Right Thing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The shit that went down with Radio Raheem. You know, everywhere in this world, there is that Radio Raheem. There is that Eric Garner. And this month, playing the role of Radio Raheem, playing the role of Eric Garner, was Mr. George Floyd. Now, in some new information, you've got different camera angles that kind of show when police came up to this man. Supposedly there was some call about something stupid. Forged checks. Am I understanding that right? I'll have to rely on you guys. Something about forged check, whatever the case may be. Didn't hear anything about, So somebody robbed a liquor store or somebody did this. Like, okay, so we need to apprehend somebody and just ask them some preliminary questions, find out what's going on with them. And, I know, and I've always said on this show that before we jump to conclusions, we need to follow all the evidence. We need to do everything in our power to get as much information as possible. Try to see all sides of the story. Get as much evidence, concrete evidence that we can obtain before we jump to conclusions. But Jesus fucking Christ, guys and girls, what the fuck are we supposed to do when, these cops, they're supposed to protect and serve. Protect and serve. And if you have somebody that's saying, please, please, they're begging, please, my neck hurts. Please, I can't breathe. Please, my stomach hurts. And then the bleeding and all that from the nose and all that other shit. Like, when do you think enough is enough? And you go, okay, you know what? The threat has been, if it was a threat, it's been nullified. It's been neutralized. So, we're good to go. This reminded me no different of the fucking, I hate to bring it up because it really doesn't connect, but you want to talk about a what the fuck, not for nothing. I watched a new 9 at 9 on ID, and last night they did an episode on Jeffrey Dahmer, and it was a 2-hour special that they did on him. And there was a 14-year-old victim of Jeffrey Dahmer's. And it was so sad because they talked to the lady that actually physically came across this boy butt naked. And she was riding in the car with her friends, and she was 17 at the time, and she knew that what she saw, something wasn't right. She went over, tried to get a hold of that boy, and Jeffrey Dahmer comes running out talking about, we were just having a lover spat. And at this point, the cops were already called because, she had her friends call the cops and everything. Cops fucking come. And of course, it's basically a race thing because these were white cops that basically came to the scene. And they separated her and, all of that other shit. And long story short, that 14-year-old boy was able to go back with Jeffrey Dahmer. Cops, EMTs, everybody left. That woman that found that kid, she knew something was wrong. And she told her mom what had happened. So the mom calls the police precinct. Yeah, my daughter had came across, this young boy, earlier tonight. And I was just trying to find out, what happened, because she was ready to talk to you guys, give a statement, and EMTs and police, they just disappear. And it turns out the cop that she was on the phone with was one of the cops that had responded to that incident. Yeah, everything's good. That was just a lover spat, boyfriend and boyfriend. Really, because that boy, he's 14. No, he's not. He's not 14. Really? No, he's not 14. You were able to establish he wasn't 14. Yeah, but he was naked. Like, did you check for ID? Did you? Everything's been taken care of. Just a boyfriend quarrel. That nothing more to it. So my point, this is the first time that, we've heard of police officers that have been abusing the badge and have decided that, no, I'm going to go into business for myself here. There's corruption amongst the police department. Look, I know there's some good cops out there. I know there's good cops that's doing it right. I know a few of them, my friends, family members. There's some good cops out there, but we got too many of these bad apples that's running around that, in 2020, it's really hard for me to believe that we're still dealing with this. I would have thought that after Eric Gardner, I would have thought that after Trayvon Martin, I would have thought that with Colin Kaepernick taking the knee, people really now understanding why he's taking that knee. Anybody that ever questions why Colin Kaepernick was doing what he was doing, taking the knee and protest, now you understand. And I thought that we were finally starting to break some new ground here. Boy, was I mistaken. Eric Garner in New York City. Latest victim, George Floyd. Ahmaud Arbery, Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Walter Scott, Michael Brown, Eric Harris in Oklahoma, who was supposed to be tased, but was instead shot. And here we are again. As a black man, very rare I pulled a race card. As a black man, scares me shitless. Scares me shitless to hear this. And let me tell you something. I know what it's like to be racial profiled. I know what it's like to be racial profiled. I will never fucking forget. I remember in Prince George's County, Maryland, I was 21. Me and my best friends, we were sharing a 2-bedroom apartment together. We were fresh out of college and we were sharing a 2-bedroom apartment together. We had a 24-hour Shoppers Food warehouse that wasn't that far away from us. And normally when it came to grocery shopping, we usually like to go all together, especially when we knew we didn't have to go to work the next day or whatever. So we usually were all off at the same time on the weekend. So Friday night on, we were off. So that Friday night going into Saturday morning, we decided, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's go to grocery store. Anytime you would catch us coming from that joint when we went grocery shopping, we would spend anywhere between $250 to $350 worth of groceries because we combined our money. So we go out this night. The store is right there. None of us were driving just yet. And the grocery store was like not even a 10-minute walk. Not even a 10-minute walk. Next thing you know, we get a fucking police officer that fucking flags us down, asked us where we were going. I mean, giving us the whole riot act. And I remember I took the main lead. I said, guys, I said to the officer, I said, officer, I was like, I'm pretty sure you just saw us. We just came from out of that apartment complex right over there. If you want to, you're more than welcome to go back with us to the apartment complex and, you can have a drink of water or soda or something like, but, that's where we live. We're going to the grocery store. We're just trying to get some groceries. Yeah, you guys are out here getting groceries, at this time of night, and you guys ain't got no ID. And it's like, well, not for nothing. We didn't expect to get pulled over for walking. We didn't expect to get pulled over just for trying to do something harmless as going to a grocery store. No, what his problem was, he sees 2 young black guys, and he sees a light-skinned chick in the middle that, hey, she couldn't help that she had a nicely shaped body, but she also worked out 3, 4, 5 times a week, so she was actually pretty muscular. She looked like she could whoop your ass. Definitely on this night, she looked like she could whoop the cop's ass. But because he saw 2 black guys and a chick, so basically we're kind of like her trick daddies, I guess is how he was kind of looking at it. And I just remember, I said, guys, this guy ain't got nothing on. I was like, well, let's just go. My friends were just scared shitless. And I remember that police officer, oh man, he really had a hard on for me. I mean, he was coming at me like a motherfucker. Asking me for, my social security number, all that shit. And it got so bad, he called for backup. And the next thing I know, I remember there was another police officer that had came. And I never felt so pissed off. I never felt so embarrassed in my entire life. I told these police officers, I said, guys, you're picking on the wrong people here. I was like, the people you want to be hunting down are the drug dealers. You want to be looking for the prostitutes. I said, and at this point, I actually was working in law enforcement as a security officer. And I told them, I said, I work in law enforcement as well. It's like, I work security. I'm like, we look at you guys as the big brother and the big sister. We look up to you guys. We respect you guys tremendously. And for the most part, usually that respect is given back. I'm like, I don't understand. It's like, what you guys normally act like this to people of color? Like, I'm trying to understand. And I remember it got to a point where, one of the officers, the main one that had his eyes on us the minute that we came out of that fucking apartment complex, he said straight up, he said, one more word out of you and you're going to jail. And I remember my friends, they were like, Lee, shut the fuck up, dog. Just shut the fuck up. I'm like, all right. So I just had to stand there and fucking grind my teeth over that shit. Worst uncomfortable experience I ever had. And anybody that has lived in the DC metropolitan area will tell you, when it comes to jurisdictions, when it comes to counties, you do not want to be in Prince George's County because the police officers, they are unreliable like a motherfucker. They are racist like a motherfucker. They are lazy like a motherfucker. And then some. But I just remember that was a night that has stuck with me because, bad enough, I already have felt a certain stigma towards the police because when my uncle died of gun violence back in 92, the police officers, they just, it's another homicide. Oh, it's another life that's lost to gang violence and the drug war. And they really didn't, in my book, when I think back on it all these years later, they really didn't do anything to bring my uncle's killers to justice. So I already had lost respect for law enforcement back then. But then to personally go through what I had went through at the age of 21 with the police, it was, okay, so that's how we're doing it here. So to go from that period in time, let me see if I got this straight. To go from that period in time, go to finally talk about history being made. We get a black president. And here we are in 2020, like all these great advancements in medicine and all this other shit. And we still have, ain't my fault it happens to be white cops. If you want me to look the other way on the race for a minute, I'll be kind just to not make everybody feel uncomfortable. I can put the race of the cops to the side. But you can't defeat me on this argument. Once again, we got some more corrupt police officers that's abusing the badge, abusing their authority. Why, in this day and age, they think they can do the shit that they're doing and like, ain't nobody gonna be recording, is beyond me. It's fucking beyond me. But as it stands right now, the 4 police officers, and no shit, it should have happened. The 4 police officers involved in this, they all were fired. Good for the sons of bitches, but you know what? That's not enough. As far as I'm concerned, that's not enough. More needs to be done. Those 4 sons of bitches, especially the main one that had his knee on that man's throat, that son of a bitch needs to have his balls cut off. Plain and simple. All of them, they need to do some type of jail time. But definitely the one that put the knee on the brother, he definitely needs to get the most jail time. I don't give a flying fuck if it turns out that this brother was on parole, and I don't care if he might have been in violation, XYZ. I don't care. The minute that he's on that ground, he's already handcuffed and he's pleading for his life. All right. You've already protected the public. You've already done your part in serving the community. Okay, now you need to do your part while you got the streets watching you. Now you got to do your part. And okay, now let's make sure that we're doing everything else by the book. I would have thought by now, with all of those names that I just mentioned, there's even more names, but you get the gist. I would have thought that in 2020, especially with the introduction of body cam footage and all of that shit, I would have thought that by now. All right, man, nah. Play it by the book. Because ain't no telling who's watching. We're going to play this by the book. Not to mention, it's just the wrong fucking thing to do. Not jeopardizing my salary for some stupid shit. Fuck that. And why the other 3 officers did not get on top of this other officer is beyond me. Is beyond me. Yeah, I guess there's that whole code of the blue, you know, brothers in arms. Fuck that. Fuck that. What it should have been was, brother, sister, if I got to choose between you or me, and a job is on the line, my family's livelihood is on the line, how I keep my kids fed every day, how I keep the lights on at my house, if I got to choose between you and me, sorry. Loyalties for suckers. I sure as hell would go in that route. I sure as hell would go in that route. Fuck you. You know, we could be here all night and we could talk about all kinds of really cool ideas but you know, it just kind of feels, honestly, like everything is just on deaf ears. It just feels nullified. It just when you think that we're making progress, we take a couple of feet back. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That's just how it feels. You know, my thoughts, my prayers, definitely my condolences goes out to this family, man. I mean, and, you know, as we heard, some serious protests. I think there was even some rioting that was going on out there. You know, people are not going to feel justified. They are not going to feel at ease until these men have not only charges that's brought against them, but also do some type of jail time. Just very sad. Very sad. I'm going to continue to definitely watch this. And any new developments that comes about, I'll definitely share it with you guys here, man. But, you know, this is definitely, you know, the last thing you want to be doing is hesitating to pick up the phone and call a 911 when you need it the most, because, man, you think I'm really going to get the type of help that I need? You know, I am a brother after all. I mean, shit. We just saw that fucked up case out there in New York where that damn white woman, you know, brother kindly just, hey, can you put your dog on the leash? You know, can you put your dog on the leash? And she freaks the fuck out, gets on the phone, calls 911, says that there's an African American that's threatening her, screaming and shit, acting like this guy's raping her or some shit like that. And then what's going on with that poor dog? I mean, for me, I know everybody was just tripping over. I was looking at the dog. I'm going, what about the dog? Look at the fucking dog. That dog's neck is getting all bent and stretched the shit out. Look at what's going on with that poor thing. And I mean, it was weird, almost in real time, seeing when it broke out. And then a couple hours later, oh, hey, it turns out the dog there, that's something she had adopted from this place. And they get wind of what went down. They take that pet right away from her. You're going, damn. Then social media, I tell you, social media is beautiful in some instances, and in that instance, social media was beautiful because it was almost as if you were watching America's Most Wanted, and she was the #1 person on the hit list, because then everybody, oh, found her LinkedIn, found her Facebook, found her Twitter, and you're reading her LinkedIn profile and you're going, damn, this woman is working in the investment industry? And you're acting like this? Like, what the fuck? Day later, she loses her job. No shit. No shit. They don't want that scrutiny. Hell no, they don't want that scrutiny. So she loses her job. If there was ever a time to be reminiscent, be very reflective, hey, I'm not a racist, you know, I see the statement, this blanket statement that she gave to one of the news affiliates out there, and boy, it wasn't even a half-ass apology. It was justifying her actions, so to speak. It was just totally fucking sad. Totally fucking sad. Now look, man, I'm not coming on here and you know, yeah, we got racism. We definitely got racism, but there's a lot more people of different ethnicities, different religions, all across the board that truly are walking the right path, and they mean right, they do right, they love and respect everybody. And the last thing I want for you guys, especially you younger people that's seeing what's going on out here in this crazy ass world, the last thing I want for you guys to do is go out there and think, well, since everybody's acting this way, then I'm just gonna be selfish and I'm just gonna care about my people. That's not how we mend fences. That's not how we get over. That's not how we find peaceful solutions. We all gotta sit down. We all gotta communicate. We all gotta work together. The only way we can go forward is to acknowledge all of this shit, you know, even stuff that's still from yesterday. You know, I don't think, probably not for another 30 years, 40 years tops, are we really going to be flushed out with, you know, these baby boomers and all that, because you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about, you know, until we can really flush things out. But the last thing I want for you guys is to feel as though, well, fuck these people because they're shitting on us. No, 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 no. Fuck the people that do not believe in equal rights for everyone. Fuck the people that do not believe in, hey, it's not about my race being more superior than yours, or no, we all are on equal fucking plane. That's what it's all about. And if you ain't about that, you ain't about equal rights all across the board, you know, you ain't about fuck racism, then fuck you, don't want to have anything to do with you. Those are the individuals that you need to be homing in on. So when you look at the instance of these cops, especially in this latest round of bullshit that went down, it's unfortunate that, once again, it's another white person. Very unfortunate. But I want you to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and just go, here's another case right here. We got another corrupt cop. We got another corrupt cop. Hey, and that's great that him and his other buddies are off the streets. But they got to go through the judicial system. They need to be charged. Whatever jail time can happen needs to happen. And hopefully it will happen. But here in North America, we need a new mandate, man, for all the police departments all across the board. And not for nothing. I can't believe I almost forgot about this. Not for nothing. But this one police officer that did the shit with the knee and everything, this isn't the first time that he has been in trouble with the law. This is not the first time that he's had issues. And I'm not sure how many of you guys were aware of this, but matter of fact, if you could bear with me a second, I can actually pull it up for you. And hopefully I can find it for you real quick, because I had it ready to go. I had it loaded up earlier here. And let me actually see if I can find it right here. Because apparently this was not his first time getting in trouble with the law here. It's weird too, because 1 minute I saw the fucking article. Bear with me a second here. Let me see if I can find that real quick for you before we roll out here. Yeah, doesn't look like I can find it, but you'll hear more about it, because I started seeing that pop up here and there in my news feed. I want to say it was earlier tonight, but when you try looking for it right now, it's not coming up. I'll try maybe one more batch of keywords. And yeah, it's not coming up now. You just, when you try to look it up, it's basically just repeating what most people already know. But apparently for that officer that put the knee into the guy, it wasn't the first time that he got in trouble with the law. So now you got to ask the question, well, wait a minute here. You know, if this wasn't his first time, then why is it he was able to continue to get these passes? You know, it goes back to something I had said a long time ago on the shows, off and on over the years, which is, you know, when you got these officers that do this type of shit, you know, there needs to be some type of a permanent jacket that it stays in that follows them throughout every tier of being in law enforcement. That way it has a huge impact on whether or not they're going to get hired or not. That's just how it needs to go now. And fuck the overlooking of, well, we can, that was in the past. And, no, fuck all that shit. If you got involved in that type of controversy, nah. As far as I'm concerned, it should just take one fucking time. And that's it. You should not even be given an opportunity to wear a badge. I don't care if it's in New York or if it's in, what the fuck is that town called? Ville. You're fucked. You're fucked. Plain and simple. But yeah, man, just, continue to love one another, man. That's why every time I end the show, I always tell you guys, be safe, be kind to one another. Truly mean that, man, because these are some weird times we're living in right now. Very weird times. You didn't really hear this shit going on in the 80s. 90s, you had the gang war shit and all that going on. But I tell you, it seems like in the 2000s, this has continued to be a reoccurring theme. And not for nothing, I don't know about you, I'm really not that interested in going into the next decade, continuing to hear about this over and over and over again. I really need for the president, whoever that may be, come January 1st of 2021, whoever that may be, but there needs to be a new mandate for better training and whole nine yards, without a doubt. All right, so hate to end the show on such a Debbie Downer like that, but hopefully that gives you some really good food for thought. Before I get ready to roll out here, just looking at what some of you guys are saying in the chat here. Oscar is talking about how in Mexico, it's all on the news. That's all that they've been talking about. And even out there in Mexico, they're demanding justice for Floyd as well. So that's awesome to hear. That's awesome to hear. It really is. It really is. And let's see what else we got here. Just looking at what else you guys are saying in the chat here before I get ready to go out. Alyssa, do I think lost importance, turn heel, everybody, great face, baby, Daniel Bryan, Stone Cold, Dawson's, Phil, great baby face. Alyssa, I love you, hun. I can't quite figure out what you're trying to say right here. It sounds like you're trying to ask me if I think, do I think lost importance, turn heel, everybody, great face, baby Daniel. Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. You're kind of losing me on that one. I don't know if you had too many Heinekens tonight or what, but if you can clean that up, and ask that question the next time I'm live, I'd be more than happy to tackle that for you. But as it stands right now, I'm not quite sure, what you're trying to ask there. All right. Appreciate everybody that tuned in live tonight. All right. So your next edition of the RCWR show, going to be taking the rest of the week off, but Patreon, we got some good content that's going to be coming your way. So peep that out. I will be live with you guys again. We won't be back till June 1st. June 1st, Monday night, June 1st, 2020. We'll be back on live after Raw goes off the air. So join me for that. That's going to be a good show. Meantime, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you may have missed on demand and on the downloads. Appreciate the love and the support as always. You can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use keywords the RCWR show. Do me a favor, if you're watching this, you're with me up until this point, especially on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button, because the YouTube algorithm guys, they love that. It helps them recommend content for other people to check out. So do that. Subscribe as well. All of that good jazz. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Use keywords, the RCWR show. If you're going to be waiting for the audio version of this, that won't be released until Thursday evening. Once I get situated from work, I will gladly mix this down and have the audio version available. So enjoy the webcast version for now. Once again, streaming on great platforms, Mixer, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. Shout out to our Fight TV audience as well. Got another report of the numbers, liking what I'm seeing from Fight TV. So that's fantastic. All right, guys, until I hear from you next go round, please be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. Everybody, in case I don't get to interact with you going into the weekend, have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy some of that sun, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. Be well, y'all. Take care.